For my English treat, I'm going to talk about the film Edward Scissorhands. So, what you just saw was a mood trailer from the romantic fantasy film Edward Scissorhands that was directed by Tim Burton in 1990. The whole movie circulates around the question where snow comes from. It's about an artificial man called Edward who basically looks like anyone else but has scissors for hands. He's invented by a very old inventor that unfortunately dies before he's able to give Edward his real hands. After the inventor's death, Edward stays in the old Gothic mansion where it's invented and lives all by himself. The mansion is located on the top of a hill which is overviewing the suburb of the town. And the film does, however, don't really start until a saleswoman comes by to see him. And when she sees how he lives all alone, she decides to take him home, which is in the suburb. And the rest of the film is really about how Edward copes with living under normal conditions with a pair of scissors as hands, and how he's treated by the neighbors and the people living in the town. The trailer may cause the film to seem odd and weird, and it's true. The film is both odd and weird, but it is so in a good way, because it shows the many different sides of people, beauty, and love. And by doing all of those things, and still be funny and tragic, the result comes out quite odd. Edward Scissorhands is a very beautiful but yet tragic film. It's about loneliness, rejection, and superficiality, but also very much about differences. The film is a mixture of romance and horror, but the themes in the film aren't just portrayed in a world of darkness, but also in a world with the most perfectly kept pastel houses. The two worlds are highlighted with color and music. There's the perfect pastel neighborhood that is always bright in sunshine, and then there's Edward's world, which is very dark and lonely and overshadowed with clouds and gloom. Because of the music, the film gets, from my perspective, a kind of magical atmosphere. There's light tunes played even when the camera is shooting Edward's house, and the soundtrack consists of mixed instruments as well as dark and light tunes. So here's a clip from one of the songs. Edward's a very kind and innocent character, even if his dialogue in the film is minimal. But his only wish is to be loved. But by not being able to physically touch anyone or anything without causing damage, it becomes quite hard for him. Edward's afraid to be loved, even if it is his great desire, because he can't look past the two different sides of him, the one that can hurt, but also the one that can love. Edward Scissorhands was one of Tim Burton's earliest films, and is still considered by himself and the critics as one of his best. The character of Edward is actually based on Tim Burton himself, due to the fact that he's always felt different. The film is inspired by other romance and horror films, for example The Beauty and the Beast, as well as Frankenstein, since both of the lead roles has problems fitting into the society. It shows us that the film also shows us that it's hard to be a part of the norm of a society when you stand out, and what is truly is acceptable in the norm. Even if the film is a little bit odd, I still recommend it very much because it is, from my perspective, one of the perfect examples of a tragic love story, and there's no film like it.